Hi, this is Belinda Calibriali and this is Talking High Performance with Belle. So I'm making this podcast for people who want to live their best life, people who know that there's more in them, but they just don't know how to get it. So there's a gap, something's missing, I'm making it for them. Hey, it's Belle. Welcome back. FYI, I'd really love it if you could give us a like, give us a review, because I really heard that it helps grab more listeners. So welcome to episode 11, Talking High Performance with Belle. I'm excited today to talk to you about achieving the next level of personal and professional success through the development of your skills. So how it helps us in leveling up and living a life that we're passionate and excited about. So why do I want to talk about this topic? I think this topic is really important for me because I'm always looking for that edge. So how do you make life more fulfilling? How do you gain more confidence? And especially, how do I show my kids, because I've got 4 young ones, that you can do anything that you set your mind to? And it's all about, it's all in the acquiring of new skills and developing those skills to help you get to the next level. So, in work, we know that the development of our skills, it helps to make us more versatile and more knowledgeable and more successful. But personally, I want to talk more about the personal side of it today and how developing of your skills makes you feel more fulfilled and more confident, and how it also helps to, make you feel more courageous. And that's what ultimately many of my clients want. They want a life where they're passionate and they want a life where they can speak their truth and be really authentic. And it's, again, that internal fulfillment that we're after. And it's that deep satisfaction of knowing that, we're capable, or they're capable, whether it's capable in conversations they're having, capable in their ability to figure it out, and ultimately just capable to do life better. And that's why development of our skills is really, really important. And in high performance living, you'll hear me talk about, the different lives that we can live. And the first one is the caged life where we feel trapped. The second one is the comfortable life where things are good, but they're not really moving and we're not really working on developing those skills. So we know that something's missing, but we're kind of comfortable doing what we're doing and nothing really changes us. Nothing really changes for us. And then there's the charged life where we're motivated, where we're passionate, and where we're growing and stretching ourselves out of our comfort zone. And that's where we acquire new skills and we develop things to help us to move forward. And this is what separates us from the rest. And in high performance living, this is the life that we want to live. And when I talk to many of my clients, this is the life that they want and they're just unsure how to get there. And so we often talk about developing your skills, what's missing and how do you fill that gap. And there's a danger when we stay in our comfort zone, and the danger is we limit our growth and we limit our potential. And when you want a life that, feels a little bit better, when you want a life that you're more passionate about, you don't want to stay in that comfort zone. For example, when I was in my old job, it was pretty easy. I'd been doing it for a long time. But after about 11 years, I began to lose my passion and it just wasn't there anymore. And I knew that, I could push harder. I could have done better. But things didn't get worse, but they didn't get better either. And I knew that my time there was coming to an end. And, I was getting a certain paycheck, but I was more going in just to see the staff and, just to have a bit of a laugh with them and just keep things going as I was growing my coaching business. And I was very aware that what I was doing, I wasn't developing my skills in that area, but instead I was developing in the coaching field. So I knew that, where I wanted to spend my energy, I knew where I wanted to exert my energy, but I also knew that by not pushing in that area, the shop wasn't growing with its sales, how it could have been. And, now they've got another partner there who can push that store to the next level, who's motivated, who's developing her skills, who's pushing them to strive, which is what we'd been doing for the decade before, and which is what I was doing in my coaching business as I was building that. So I was aware that although I wasn't using my skills in my previous job, I was using them in the job that I was passionate about, and that was really important. And I knew this would help me not only, help my clients, but it would also help my kids. So if I was becoming the best version of me, my kids would become the best version of them. And even though directly I wasn't using these skills in my optical business, I knew that through conversations and through, being honest and also protecting my boundaries, I was improving, or I was working on things that would help that business as well in the interim. So what are the benefits of developing new skills? And I think we know that, when we want to advance our career, there could be financial gains, or extrinsic motivators that help us to develop our skills. But I want to talk about, mindset and around skill development and how things can help us in that area. So I think the first benefit is it helps us to develop a growth mindset. So where we believe that we can work things out through hard work and through dedication and through learning new skills and accomplishing new things, we expand our mindset, and we also believe in our ability to work it out. And I think an example of this is in the podcast. So this is a skill that I had not acquired. If you asked me, a year or two ago, if I would be doing a podcast. In fact, someone suggested it to me a couple of years ago, and I'm like, absolutely no way am I going to be doing a podcast. And here I am. So when I saw her a few months ago, we had a good laugh about that. But, I'm passionate about it, and I'm more than willing to tackle the challenges that come with developing this skill. And, I appreciate the learnings as well. So that's one of the reasons how I think skills help us. They help us to develop that growth mindset. A second reason or why I think, it's so important is skills help us to be more resilient. So they help us to be more adaptable. We know that things are going to go wrong, challenges are going to happen. And when we have that ability to go, I've got the skills where I can work that out. It's not going to go to plan. In fact, nothing really goes to plan in life all the time. But when we go, yep, I've got the skills and the mindset that I can work it out, it's a whole lot easier to get there. And that helps us to level up, because when we're resilient, we take on more challenges because we believe in our ability to figure it out. Another one is an enhanced belief in self. So I think when we tackle new things, when we think about what we want to achieve in life, when we know that we can work it out, and when we know that we can work through challenges, and we go, I haven't done that before, but I've done this. I'm in the middle of writing a course, an online course, and I've never written one before. Wouldn't even know where to start when I started it, but I put something together. I'm like, yep, I believe in my ability to figure it out. I've got great people around me that can help to put the bits and pieces together, especially when it comes to IT, because I'm not very good with the IT side of things. But I go, I've done this and this and this. So absolutely I can write an online course. Like, why can't I? So it helps with that belief in self to know that you can figure it out. So there are three reasons why I think, how skill development helps. So I want to talk about now what are 4 ways to begin a new skill, because I'm all about the steps. So the first step is to ask yourself, where do you want to be? So in 1 year's time, in 2 years' time, where do you want to be? So 20 years ago, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew that I wanted to be successful. I deferred uni, I worked in optics, I loved it, managed a few stores and bought a couple of my own. And I worked my butt off in that job. Later in life, it meant transitioning to a new phase. You have kids. I'd done a lot of personal development work. Where I wanted to be was different to where I was. And I loved where I was. It was great, but it wasn't enough to get me through, the next 20, 30, 40 years of work that would fulfill me. So I asked myself, where do I want to be? And then how do I make the steps in order to do that? So the first step, where do you want to be? Second step, why is it important? So why do you want to be there? What would life look like if you got there? So you know where you want to be, but why? What's the reason? The reason for me is I had 4 young children. I wanted to be present. I wanted to be flexible, but I also wanted to do something that lights me up, that makes me feel passionate. So that's a really important question to ask yourself. Step 3 is to focus on consistency over perfection. So here it's important to realize that when you're learning something new, it's not going to be perfect. But the more you do it, the more you become the best version of yourself when going through that experience. So I spoke a little bit about why excellence is more important than perfection in episode 9. So if you missed that, go back and have a look. But I could, listen to each podcast episode 10 times and go, I've said too much, or I could have mentioned this there, or I could have said that there. And sometimes we do go back and we retake parts of the podcast. But I'm not going to retake it 100 times. At that time, that was the best that I had. I was proud of it. But in a year's time, I want to look back and go, wow, I'm proud of that, but I've moved and achieved a lot since then. So focus on excellence over perfection. Otherwise, you'll never really get things out there and you never get moving. So skills take time to develop, whether you're an athlete, whether you're, moving up in your career at work, skills take time. And I think too often these days people want to get to the top without, following the steps. So it's all about the steps, not what's at the top of the staircase. So that's step 3. And step 4 is take action. So you know where you want to be, you know why it's important, you know that you need to focus on being excellent, not being perfect, and what that version of excellence means to you. Now it's time to work out what skill do you need to develop in order to achieve that goal, and just go for it. Knowing that sometimes you'll do well, sometimes you'll need to tweak, but putting things in place to help you do that. So they're my 4 steps to beginning to develop new skills. So there you have it. My reason why skill development is the catalyst to leveling up, and the 4 actions to take before beginning that new skill to give you a charged life, to build your confidence and live a life that you're motivated and passionate about. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please feel free to head to my website and grab yourself a free ebook or join my weekly newsletter to hear all about the latest info. And I look forward to chatting to you next week, where we talk about taking back control of your life moving forward so that you're in the driver's seat. So until next time, live a successful, purposeful, and fully charged life. Your coach, Belle.